Now, 11:02, back on the show. Brandon Tierney with you. Winter Work Wednesday. Got a sweet frame shot of Reggie going yard in the 77 World Series. Just flicking the bat, doing a Reggie pose. We'll do that. Ranger tickets tomorrow, by the way. The center ice, the Habs and the blue shirts. We'll do that on the show. And right now, we will talk to David Diehl, who's in studio. Tackle for the G-Men, and a good one. What's happening there, bro?
Nothing. Excited to be here. I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to spit at me here.
You're a monster. I mean, you are. What do you weigh, 310?
I'm about 317 right now.
That's a pretty good guess. And how tall are you?
6'7".
6'7". Now, you ran track in high school, didn't you?
Of course. Hurdles. High hurdles, by the way.
What do you mean, of course?
Come on. Just because I'm this big doesn't mean I'm not an athlete.
Did you play hoops?
Yeah, played hoops. Actually, I played hoops my entire life. When I got to high school, I kept growing sideways and wideways, and I did tall-wise, but, eventually it all caught up with me, and apparently my decision to stick with football worked out for the best for me.
Can you still jam? I'm sure
Of course. I still love playing. I still love running out there and playing a game, and, as a kid, that was my number one love, was basketball.
You watch the Knicks at all?
Yeah, I'm actually a Knicks fan. I grew up in Chicago, as hard as it is to believe. I grew up in Chicago, and I was a Bulls fan. I mean, watching Jordan win all the championships.
Let me stop you right there. You just said you were a Knicks fan, then you said you were a Bulls fan, so you are still a Bulls fan.
No, I'm not.
We don't need your pity,
I'm explaining where I'm going with this. I grew up, I was a big Bird and Barkley fan, watching those guys, and when I got to the city, I started going to Knicks games, started enjoying it, and, after the Bulls drafted Noah, that was it. I threw in my cards. I'm not a big Noah fan.
Because of Florida, or because of the style, or
just his style, and I didn't think it was a good fit for the Bulls at that time.
I didn't either.
So after they drafted them, I started becoming a Knicks fan and coming to games. I trained with during the summer with Quentin Richardson and Larry Hughes. And, Eddie Curry and these guys,
yeah.
All Chicago guys, we all train together during the summers in Chicago.
We all know Eddie Curry doesn't show up as much as the other guys. I mean, does Curry actually show up and train?
Actually, he does. He does show up and train, but all those guys are Chicago guys. So when I started coming to games here, I started becoming a Knicks fan. And after that pick, I threw in all my chips. I became a Knicks fan, and nobody can say at that time I joined the bandwagon because it wasn't the time to jump on. So
no, it's certainly not. So
I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Knicks basketball fan.
You strike me as somebody who, and I just by the fact that you referenced Bird, and you're only 28, so I'm 7 years older than you, and you probably saw the tail end of Bird, not the real great years. But you strike me as an athlete who appreciates what came before him and the history of the games. Am I right?
Without a doubt. I mean, that's the whole thing. We wouldn't be here right now where we're at if it wasn't for the legends before us who set the standard of how to play the game and the right way of playing the game. It's not about what you go out and say in the papers. It's not about the hype and all that stuff. It's about going out there and performing. And you saw that with the older players more than you do these days.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I set you up with that here. If you're a Chicago kid, as you said.
Yes.
You love basketball.
Love basketball.
You just said you're a purist to an extent, that you enjoy the history of the game. DePaul. How far did you grow up from DePaul?
I grew up, I'm a South Sider. DePaul's on the north side, so give or take 30 miles. Yeah.
Who's the most important player ever to come out of DePaul, basketball-wise? You got to know this. Come on, Dave.
The most important player for me.
Not for you, for the game.
Oh, for the game.
Come on.
I don't know. For me, the guy who I used to watch all the time, it's not a name that you guys are going to remember, but it's Tom Kleinschmidt, who used to play there, shoot threes.
Look at this guy.
Because the reason why I like him is because he's a Catholic leaguer from the same division that I grew up in.
Yep.
My brothers played basketball against him, and I remember as a kid watching him just in high school shoot the lights out. So for him, that's the guy that I used to watch if I'd watch DePaul basketball and see him. But
the real answer is George Mikan.
Well, George Mikan, yes, I did know that. But you asked me my opinion, who I thought. That's the guy, if I did watch DePaul basketball, that's who I paid attention to.
Here's what we're going to take a quick break here. What I want to ask you next, and this is, I think this would be very interesting. I'll ask you about Plex as well, but if you didn't have a quarterback right now, pretend you didn't have Eli, pretend you had a couple of kids you didn't know anything about, they really hadn't proved themselves yet, and what's going on in Denver right now would possibly directly affect your team. I want to get your honest gut opinion on Cutler, his talents, his immaturity, all the things that have been documented. I want to talk about that. We'll step aside for a minute. David Diehl is in studio. I'll ask him about possibly lengthening the NFL season. We'll have some fun. We'll kick it around and also find out about a Chicago White Sox who will get bludgeoned by the Yankees this year. We'll know, of course.
We'll talk about that.
Tierney up until noon, 10:50 ESPN New York.
This is your play-by-play home for the Jets.
The message to the rest of the league is, hey, the Jets are coming.
The Knicks.
Baseline run! Jam it down! That's the play of the year!
And the Rangers.
Gomez shoots! He scores! Scott Gomez!
This is 1050 ESPN, New York. This is the Brandon Tierney Show.
We're back, 11:09 on the show. Winter Work Wednesday. Brandon Tierney Show. David Diehl, Giants stud left tackles in the house. 103 straight starts. Now, you weren't a real, what were you, middle round pick?
Fifth round.
Fifth round.
They call us fifth round gems is what they call us.
You've overachieved, my friend.
Well, I wouldn't say I overachieve. I'd say I've worked to get where I am to where I am today. Nothing's ever in my life has been given to me. Everything I've gotten is through, hard work and dedicating myself. And no matter what you do, there's always the people on the outside that are going to tell you there's something you can't do. There's not many people that are patting you on the back saying you're doing a hell of a job. And, those people, those naysayers, I've always used that as an advantage for me to push myself even further. And it's not about, like I said, it's not about what you say. It's not about going out in the papers, and it's about going out there and performing, and that's what I've done.
One of the situations, let's start with this. Jay Cutler.
Yes.
Right. There's no doubt that he's good.
Without a doubt. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. He wouldn't be a Pro Bowl quarterback if he wasn't good.
What would worry you if you're the Jets right now and you look at their quarterback situation? How much would you be willing to give up? And I guess how good do you really think he is, Cutler?
Obviously, you've seen how he can play and the pressure situations that he's been in. He's been able to go out there and perform and help guide his team to win football games. And he's in a tough position. When you're a player in the NFL, you always talk about the name on your helmet, and the NY on my helmet is more important than the deal on my back of my jersey. And you go out there, you sell out for your organization, you're the face of that organization, and it's tough because you have so much loyalty to those guys, and this is the organization that brought you in, that when you hear rumors, when you hear that stuff, it's tough because it hits you to the heart because you're selling out for that team. But in the same aspect is, you got to understand that it is a business. That's part of the NFL. I mean, look at Jerry Rice. He was on the 49ers, and he got to a point where they couldn't pay him anymore, and he had to go to a different team. He was a veteran. He kind of understood the aspect of it, and he got it. But it's a tough situation. It's a double-edged sword because you do so much for the organization and you sell out for them, but at the same time, that's the business of the NFL.
Yeah, but Dave, here's what I don't get. Take us back a couple of years ago when Tom Coughlin was trying to change his personality, which he very effectively did.
Without a doubt.
No doubt. And we don't even need to. We don't need to waste time. Yes. He did that well.
Yep.
But let's pretend instead of Tom Coughlin, a guy who has seen a lot and has a lot of years under his belt, the Giants hired a guy who was 32 years of age. And within 2 weeks in the headquarters or in the office, he basically rips apart the team at the seams. And let's say Eli was Cutler. I mean, don't you think that Cutler has a right to kind of step back and say, whoa, what the heck have you done for this team? You're 6-7 years older than I am.
I understand, like you said. I understand when he's sitting there, you do that. He was there before he was. He went out there and played the games as a Denver Bronco before the coach coming in did. But also the head coach is the head coach. He's in charge. He's the one that's coming in. He's the one leading your team. He's the one that is pulling the strings to do whatever he can to help your football team win games. So I understand, as Jay Cutler says, and as he is, he's disappointed, and he wants to be in a different situation, and that's understandable as a player. It's definitely something that you go through, but in the same essence is that his opportunity to, in case they did trade him, if another team's willing to trade for you, that means they want you. They want you to be the face of their team. They want you to be the guy that has the ball every time when things are on the line to go out there and play for that team, and they have that belief in you. So you can look at it either way, but if you get in a different situation, I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason, and everything goes about in a certain way, and he could have put himself in a better position and be in a better organization and be in the spotlight like he is. And I'm telling you this, I think that this is going to be something that's going to guide him in the right direction and put him in the right situation, because he's going to come out this season firing, whether what team he's on, and he's going to try to, all these people that are going out bashing him, he's going to go out and win football games.
David Diehl in studio, 1050 ESPN New York, Brandon Tierney Show. Let's say that situation takes him to the Jets, and forget about the Super Bowl, all right? It's a tough one. Who's the more talented quarterback Eli or Cutler? Just talent.
Talent-wise, it's I can't answer that because I can.
Can I tell you what I think?
Go ahead.
I think it's Jay.
Well, you can
just talent-wise.
That's fine. You can think it's Jay, but I sit here. I'm around Eli every day. I see the way he works. I see the way he approaches the game. I see the way that he studies. If Eli doesn't get a pass right in practice, he's the guy that's out there extra making sure he throws 100 balls until he gets that ball right. So I can't speak on behalf of Jay Cutler, but I can speak on behalf of a teammate and a friend of Eli that he's going to go out there and he's going to do whatever he can to be the best quarterback on the field each and every Sunday. And, like I said, when I'm watching games, I watch the lines. Yeah. I watch O-line. I watch D-line. I'm never really following the ball because, that's how I break down film. So when I'm watching, TV and watching games on Monday nights with people, especially friends that aren't players of mine, I'm like, oh, did you see that block? Did you see this? And they're like, what are you talking about? The ball was run the opposite way. And, that's part of the game, and that's part of the way that I've always watched the game. But for me, I'd say, for me personally, it's Eli because that's the guy I go to work with each and every day and see the way he approaches things. And he's the guy I want to have the ball when things are on the line for my team.
All right, let's be honest now. You're 6'7", 317. You said before you could bench if you had to, 450 or 460 if you had to, right? Mm-hmm. On a Monday night, let's say you're at Hooters.
All right.
How many pitchers can you drop?
Well, I'm not even. Hooters isn't that good.
I agree. I agree.
Everybody talks about that place. That's not the place that I would go to eat
I just
food.
Threw something out.
I know. Hey, I'm not grabbing it. You threw it out there. I'm not catching it. But
how many pitchers of beer can you throw down?
That's the
and
thing.
Still walk out.
Well, I can do
10?
I can do a good amount.
Can you do 10?
I don't know. This isn't a test of manhood here.
No, I'm not saying it
is. But I'm an old lineman. Yes, we do like to drink beer.
Who picks up the tab?
We usually take turns as an O-line, but usually if Eli's out there with dinner, of course we try throwing it his way. That's always the way. We'll play credit card roulette. Everybody throws the credit cards.
Oh, yeah, I played it.
Everybody hands it to the waitress. The last one she has holding is the person who gets the bill.
Dave, I want to take you back to something you said before, how it's about the logo and the last name. Mm-hmm. And that sounds great, and in the 20 minutes that I've met you today, I can tell that you mean that.
Without a doubt.
I can tell. But the NFL, especially the wideouts, and this will lead me to Burris in a second, the wide receivers, the self-glorification, I don't think that I think the minority of players would subscribe to that thought. I don't think many people look at it like that anymore that play the game right now. It's about them, not the team.
Well, you could sit here and say that, but most important thing is at the end of the day is if you got the W or the L. It's about winning football games, and when we won our Super Bowl, when we win football games, it's a team effort. If all 11 guys on the field aren't on the same page, you're not going to get things done, and that's the way I've always looked at it, and that's the way I think a good majority of guys looked at this game, and I feel that's the way you have to look at it. Normally when you get those guys that step outside the box, that want to do more things for themselves, are more worried about the press than other things, are the guys that, don't extend their career. They're the guys that have problems on and off the field because they're priorities. It's all about the team. It's all about selling out for those guys. And like I said, for the organization, the New York Giants, it's an organization that's been here long before I have. They've set the standard of excellence, and I remember being here as a rookie when Wellington Mara would walk around, and when we would lose games, I couldn't look the man in the eye because I felt like I disappointed him, like I let him down, and I think more and more guys are starting to see that and see the light. And perfect example. Look at last year, Arizona Cardinals. This is a team that they didn't come into the season with a bunch of hype. They didn't have this and this and this. They have unbelievable guys at wide receiver, but nobody really talked about the rest of their team. They talked about their wide receivers and Kurt Warner. And look at how well their defense came out and played. Look at how well that they, doubted all the naysayers saying that they couldn't do it. They wiped right past it. They used it as motivation and moved forward. And I think that's the way that you win games, and that's the way you're successful in this league.
I still think you guys were better than them.
Well, it's no way to say, but it's.
Do you think you were?
What?
Do you think you guys are better than Arizona last year?
Last year, we played them, we beat them.
I know, but at the end of the season, we were a better team without Burris.
what last year how can I say it? We didn't play Arizona at the end of the season, but when we played them,
do you think you were?
I do, yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
I do. I think we are.
Simple question,
yeah.
Dave.
All right.
It's getting all worked up.
I am getting all worked up.
Speaking of our buddy, Mr. Burris.
Yes, sir.
In a lot of ways, it's out of the organization's hand. I have to laugh. It's like, well, do the Giants want him back? It's whether or not the legal system will allow him to come back. Is he worth the headache at this point? Do you like Plexico Burris?
I mean, like I said, he's a great teammate. He was a great guy to be around. Obviously, we all seen what he can do on the football field and the dynamics of his game that helped us win football games. But like you said, this is something that's completely out of our control. And as a teammate, as a team, and as an organization, the most thing that we can do is support him and hope that he's doing all right and see how things play out. I didn't go to Harvard Law. I don't have my degree in that. I am not a lawyer. So it's hard for me to sit here and say what's going to happen, what can happen, what's this, what's that. The only thing that I can tell you is that as a team, the one thing we're focusing on now is trying to bring another Super Bowl back to New York. And we started our off season 3 weeks ago. Everybody's playing, working right now with a chip on their shoulders. Last year, good things happened, but can you say it was a successful season? No, it wasn't a successful season. Mm-hmm. We didn't win the game. We didn't win in the playoffs. We didn't get another Super Bowl run. So that's motivation, and all the guys are using that. And in the other cases, like I said, when people say stuff about other players, it pushes them. And I can tell you right now, I'm watching our wide receivers work. They're pushing themselves. They're working hard.
Because they weren't that good down the stretch. 13 points a game here, Dave.
You got guys like Steve Smith who's stepping up, and he kind of had a little bit of an injury bug last season, but I
like Steve Smith.
Yeah, everybody
talks,
like Steve Smith. And the thing is, everybody talks. You hear about the Steve Smith in Carolina. You don't hear everybody talk about the Steve Smith in New York. And the thing, I always razz him. I always give him a hard time because this is a guy at 22 had 2 national championships and a Super Bowl ring. How many guys can really say that? He's a guy that's looking to make a name for himself, just like Dominic Hickson. He's a guy you just saw a glimpse of what he can do last year. Mm-hmm. Now that he's getting more experience, he's getting more playing time. That's the whole thing of being a veteran, is the more experience you get, the better off you are.
Agreed. But here's the thing, and I've spoken to OC about this and Justin as well, and they said what you said. He's a great teammate. Back to Plex for a second. Mm-hmm. He's a great teammate. My question would be, how is a guy a great, forget about Sundays, which I guess is the most important thing, but forget about that for a sec. How is a guy a great teammate when he's late for meetings? He's a disruptive force. Is he really a great teammate, or is he a great player? There's a difference.
Well, that's the thing. If you've been around our locker room and you've been around him, when nobody's ever had any riffs with him, nobody's ever gotten into arguments with him, it's not like he doesn't walk around and talk to the rest of the players. So
he's not Terrell Owens.
No, unfortunately, those incidents did happen where he was late to meetings, and like I said, that was between the organization and the coaches. That wasn't us as players to be able. Yeah, well, and like I said, that's the thing. That's not for us to step in and be the judge and the jury and to do all that stuff.
That's what we do on the radio.
That's what you guys do here, but that's what the organization does. That's what they're there for, to step in and make decisions and that they feel are good for the team. And but like I said, he never walked around. He never was a problem with any other teammates. He was social with everybody. He worked out. He did his things. He did everything. So, like I said, we as a player, I couldn't sit here and say he's a bad person because I've never had one problem, one issue with Plax.
Giants left tackle David Diehl is on the show. Who was tougher to deal with, Shockey or Burris?
Sounds
like Shockey.
Well, no, that's the thing is that you love to have a guy who has a passion. It's tough, but if you have a player on your team that wants the ball all the time, that's the competitive drive that Jeremy had. He's a guy who always wanted the ball, and wouldn't you love to have a guy that wants that and wants to do that?
I'd like to go out with Shockey one night. That's what I'd want to do.
I feel the situation of everything, the way everything panned out at the end of that season was tough for him. Jeremy, not getting hurt. If it wasn't for Jeremy, we wouldn't have won games early on in the season to get us up into the playoffs and through the rest of the season. But I think it was tough. It was tough to him to handle. The way the media said that we're better off as a team without him than we were with him, even though he helped us get to the Super Bowl and doing all that stuff and watch us go to the Super Bowl. That's tough to grasp, and I think that could have went both ways. I think things could have been handled different, but everybody, they made their decision. He made his decision that he didn't want to be here, and it kind of went that way. But he's another player. He's a guy who works extremely hard. When he ran in practice, he practiced hard. It's just one of those situations that happen. And, it's the thing about it is that you have to bounce back from it. And we did. Kevin Boss is a tremendous tight end. He stepped in and as a rookie, played well in the stretch, played well in the Super Bowl. And you saw it last year. The most important thing that I've seen out of Kevin is that he's done whatever he can. His flaw was that people said he couldn't be a good blocker. Mm-hmm. If you've watched him this past season, he improved dramatically where we would run to his side.
No, he's pretty good. Kevin Boss is pretty good.
And he's only getting better. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I think everything, happens for a reason.
All right, Dave, I want to talk about your foundation a bit. Also, coming up, I want to talk to David about the commissioner's desire to lengthen the season. Now, every fan, give us 25 games if it's up to us. We got to ask the player because he might have a different opinion, and we'll do that next. Right now, we'll get a Sports Center, Tierney up until noon. David Diehl in studio, 1050 ESPN New York.
You're listening to the Brandon Tierney Show.
11:31, Brandon Tierney Show. David Diehl in studio. Who's some of your favorite musical bands here, Dave?
I like everything, but I'm a Buddy guy, B.B. King, blues guy, Chicago, classic rock, Jimi Hendrix. I listen to everything.
You like Rush?
No, I'm not a big fan of Rush. No,
a little too young.
No, I'm not a little too young. I just don't think it's that good.
I think you're a little too young.
Nah,
no, you are.
Like
28.
I said, that's all right. That doesn't mean I can't listen to classic rock
that's true.
And decide whether I like it or not.
First of all, your charities. I know you do a lot of work with Ronald McDonald House, which is beautiful, and also separate from that, Project Sunshine. You and your wife both very active.
Yep.
Tell us about it. It's a beautiful thing. What's up?
It's awesome. Project Sunshine does a great job of getting us out there and helping out kids that are in need. Later on in May, I'm going to go to Mount Sinai again and go visit the kids that are in the cancer ward and fighting through things. And, it's something that I definitely got involved in is going out, being out in the community and doing stuff that it's not just about getting out there. It makes you feel good and it helps others out. And being able to go to those cancer wards and talk to the kids and just get their minds off of the daily treatments that they get and the tough stuff that they go through. People look at us and think we're the heroes and we're the tough guys. You look at these kids and the things that they go through and that they fight through, it's amazing. So to go there and be able to take the time out of your day to spend them, to see that smile, to get their relief off of all that stuff, and more importantly, to allow them to be kids and enjoy themselves and not worry about the struggles that they have, that's what makes it all worth it.
I got to tell you, I don't have any kids yet, and I know you have a 2-year-old,
right?
I have 2.5?
2.5-year-old little girl, Addison, and when you have a healthy child, you're truly blessed. So you're going to go out of your way to do anything you can to help others out. And when she's older, we're going to make sure that she gets involved and does the same thing as well. Because that's what it's about, is being a great person and being a great person in society to help others out. And
I agree. And I've spoken about this with my girlfriend Jen, and we came up with Ronald McDonald House. We want to get involved, and we'll wait till we're married where we can really do some stuff. But years ago, when I had just gotten in the business and I was in Las Vegas and we went to a hospital, we went to the cancer ward, myself and Scotty Farrell. You know Scotty?
Yes.
You do know Scotty.
Yeah, I know Scotty.
All right. And he was Santa, and I don't want to say I was his elf, but I guess in essence that day I was. And Dave, I couldn't make it through the cancer ward. I happen to love kids, and I always have a soft spot for the elderly as well. And I'm walking, I have tears in my eyes. So you're trying to do the right thing, but seeing those kids is just, to me, it's very tough to finish that.
That is, it's very difficult, but you're doing the best thing you can is by being there and spending time with them. It's difficult to grasp, especially when you go to certain places and you actually get to know the kids. It's tough because you're at a personal level with all of them. But going there and doing that's what they're supposed to do. It is tough to grin and bear it, but your job is to go there and I shouldn't even say job. Your mission is to go there and help kids out and make them smile, and it's good work. And not only does it make them feel good, but it's also great for the parents. Some of these parents are from all over the country. They're all here because New York has some of the best treatment places and the best doctors in the world. So, you meet people from out of the country, you meet people from all over the place, and to have them smile and laugh is a huge relief for them as well.
Want to get back to some of the football stuff here. David Diehl is in studio, 1050 ESPN New York, tackle for the Giants. The possibility of lengthening the season, to me, it's great. More games to watch, more games to mess around with on the sheets and have some fun in fantasy football. I'm guessing it might not be as appealing to you, who's got to, have 70 car accidents every Sunday.
And that's the thing. I'm not really worried about your fantasy football and your draft
you're not on
stuff.
it because you
I'm
don't
an
score
lineman.
touchdowns.
I have no stats and I don't score touchdowns. But to extend the season, I'm not for it. I'm an offensive lineman. We smash each and every play, and we go out there, and I'll tell you what, on Mondays after games, you feel like you got in a car wreck sometimes. And for us as an offensive lineman, they talk about, well, you'll be making more money, there's more games. At that point, it's about longevity, and it's about being able to even survive the NFL season. I mean, you look at some NFL teams towards the end of the year, they're depleted by injuries, and for me personally, I don't think it'd be a benefit for us.
Suck it up, hit the weight room.
Yeah, suck it up, hit the weight room. When people on the outside aren't the ones smashing each and every play out there with other 300-pounders, it's easy for you to say. But
how about this though, Dave? Because I think, and I don't want to say that it doesn't matter what the players think, but don't you think a lot of this decision is going to be made on the greater good, the appeal to the people and the finances of it, outside of the collective bargaining and all that stuff?
But I think,
don't you think?
I can understand that aspect of it, but whether it's 16 games or 18 games, people are still going to come out and watch the games. I mean, you add the 2 extra games. Yes, that's great.
That's 80,000 additional people per game. That's
80,000.
160.
Yeah.
Times a ticket of at least 35 to more than 35 at this point. Parking, $20 a pop. Concessions. I mean, that's millions.
That's millions of dollars. But are you going to see a good game? Are you going to see two competitive games of people at full strength at those games?
But it's better than the nonsense we get subjected to in August when you guys play 9 plays and put on your baseball cap.
Well, some of those times are times that are gems and guys that are looking to make the football team. Some of those guys are guys that you don't think about, that you don't hear about, that are guys that go out and contribute. Look at Chase Blackburn. Chase Blackburn was a guy who stepped in last year, played, made big stops, played on every special teams. Those games helped those guys make the NFL. So if you're cutting out those 2 preseason games, you're cutting out opportunities for people to make the NFL.
Well, all right. Well, look at it like this. 53 guys dress on a Sunday, right?
Without a doubt. Yep.
Okay. Of those 53, how many do you think squeezed onto the team in the final 2 preseason games? 4?
Maybe 5,
okay,
6?
5. All right. So you're telling me you can't come up with a situation here, Dave, where you eliminate 2 preseason games, you go to camp, you go to Albany 2 weeks later, and on the back end, when it's lengthened, that your body's not going to feel the same? I think it will.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you that it will. I know from a personal experience that it's different. Going through practicing, doing all that stuff is a lot different than going out there and playing on Sundays. I mean, don't get me wrong. We practice hard. We're intense. We compete with one another. I'd go out each and every day and compete when he's back. I'm going to be competing with OC and those guys in it on a competitive level. But when we're out there on the football field, you're not looking to mash your teammates' face into the ground like you are playing up against another opposing team, and it's at a different speed. And so for me, I'm not for it. I'm not for the 2 extra games. And people may say what they want to say, but I know from personal experience that my body, the way it feels at the end of the season, is adding 2 more games. It'd be difficult.
What do you guys have, about 13 defensive linemen by now?
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
But
what
I mean,
it's
this team, awesome. Right? I mean, it's awesome. I mean, to have those guys back now, have Justin Tuck, Osi Umenyiora, Chris Canny, Matthias Kiwanuka at the edges, and then now have Rocky Bernard, Fred Robbins, Barry Cofield, all these guys. I mean, that's how you start off a football team in the right direction, is by having a solid offensive line and a defensive line.
All right, Dave, couple of quick hits here. You're a Chicago guy.
Yep.
Went to Illinois, Catholic educated, Catholic school out there.
My
your whole
entire life
right?
until college. Yep.
Mm-hmm. You're a White Sox fan.
Correct.
All right, Yankees or Mets?
Yankees.
You're a Yankees guy.
Yes.
Because do you have friends on the team? Or
no, I just American League.
The front runner?
No, I'm not a front runner. No, I'm a Yankees fan. I mean, I like the way that they play baseball. It's like I said, it's about the history. It's about the history of the game. It's about the organization, the clean cut, the jerseys. it's the right way of doing things.
You hang out with any of those? I know you work out with a couple of the Knicks. You said Q Rich and Eddie Curry and those guys. But what Mets or Yankees do you run around with? Or even Jets, too? Who do you hang out with?
I've seen people, out. It's, with baseball players who are in two completely different seasons. I mean, I've run into to Jeter and A-Rod and David Wright and all those players out at certain charity events or dinners in the city and stuff like that. Jets guys, Darrell Revis is a good guy that I know really well. It's when you're off the football
he's talented,
field,
man. He's a
great player, and
you guys could use him. You guys could use a little help at
he's another
the
guy
spot.
that he's a guy that's all about the organization. He's a guy who goes out and it's not about him. It's about the way that he goes out there and performs and plays each and every Sunday, and you respect people like that.
You a hockey fan?
Yeah. Not a huge hockey fan, but
so then you're not.
Well, I have to go to the game. I have to go to the game. I can't watch it on TV.
It's tough to watch.
It's tough to watch on TV. Don't get me wrong. HD brings it to another level, but I like all sports. Am I say I'm an avid hockey fan? No, I can't say that. I golf, but I'm not a great golfer, but I golf. Now, I make sure I look good in all my Nike stuff out there. That's for sure.
I'm sure. When you catch one on the screws,
yeah.
How far do you bang it out there? 315?
The farthest I've hit a drive, I think, hit around 355, 360. But
out west in the altitude, Colorado.
But then the next time I hit it, I could be playing out of the woods using the foot wedge. So.
Yeah, or you got to drop the draws, and you don't get to pass the ladies too.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to make sure I'm out there swinging as hard as I can. That's for sure.
One time, I'll leave you with this, and before we let you go. One time we're playing, and I play a lot. We play for a few bucks, obviously. Front, back, total, some greenies, stuff like that. And I'm just having a brutal round. And one of the courses that I'm at, I'm kind of hidden. I'm in the sand. I'm in a bunker green, or a greenside bunker, and I take a swing, but nobody can see me because I'm really down.
Yeah,
screw this, man. No one's looking. I take the ball and I flip it up.
Yeah.
And is it bad that I actually collected money off that?
That's bad.
That's pretty bad.
That's bad. I mean, even though. Don't get me wrong. Every once in a while, you'll give yourself a little advantage. Move it here, move the ball here, but. I love the people that are counting. They look like they counted 7 shots. Yeah, I got a 4 on that one. Those are the people you got to laugh about. But I will say it's pretty bad that you used the old Kareem hook and took some money for it.
There's cheating, and then there's really cheating. Yeah. David Diehl, once again, terrific work with the Ronald McDonald House and the Project Sunshine. ProjectSunshine.org, www.projectsunshine.org. Of course, very active with his wife in the community. A fine young man, a heck of a football player, a champion. Thanks for swinging by, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
Good job, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, David Diehl, 11:42 on the show, taking you up until noon. Coming up next, Eli in studio. Nah, I'm just kidding. Tearing you up until noon. I do want to give you a thought on Calipari. Then we'll have a little fun with Robin, getting you ready for Colin as well at noon, right here on 1050 ESPN New York.